Roberta has her hopes pinned on the scheduled 1986-87 shuttle.
From the CityPulse satellite room, this is Toronto Television CityTV. Everywhere.
Defense plans like the American Star Wars strategy.
CityPulse News. 90 minutes of news, weather, sports, and information. Our CityPulse News teams comb Metro, bringing you up-to-the-second developments in consumer affairs, health, business, and entertainment. CityPulse News. The stories you need to know to understand Toronto.
As CityPulse anchorman, I'm constantly challenged by the question, how is this show different? What makes it unique besides its length?
On CityTV, Channel 79, Cable 7, this is CityPulse News at 10 with Dave Reynolds and Bill Cameron.
Evening, this is what's happening. Ottawa,
August 18th, 1981. This is Toronto. TTC contract vote. A Spadina surprise. Dennis, no menace. CityPulse with Gord Martineau, Deanie Petty, John Saunders, and the CityPulse News team brings you Toronto's News.
Good evening. We should know before 7 o'clock tonight the results of a contract ratification.
New Year's Eve, 1982. This is Toronto. The Bishop's Descent, Year of the Hold-Up, and Love and Taxes. CityPulse with Gord Martineau, Deanie Petty, Peter Gross, and the CityPulse News team brings you Toronto's News.
Good evening. A stinging condemnation by Canadian bishops of our economic priorities.
On CityTV, Channel 79, Cable 7, this is CityPulse Tonight with Deanie Petty.
Good evening. Our top stories tonight, a tragic fire in the apartment tower above the Plaza 2 Hotel. One man is dead, scores are homeless. We have a series of reports. Homicide officers are investigating Metro's 29th murder of the year, a beating death on Toronto's Skid Row. And the Argonauts in first place and fighting like hell to stay there. First, the fire.
Labor Day, 1984. This is Toronto. Via Rail Blast, London Twister, and Close-Up, $1 Million Horses. CityPulse with Gord Martineau, Deanie Petty, Jim McKinney, and the CityPulse News team bring you Toronto's News.
Good evening. An international investigation is underway after...
May 8th, 1987. This is Toronto. Hitting back. Heart stops. And Canada on parade. CityPulse with Gord Martineau, Deanie Petty, and the CityPulse News team bring you Toronto's News.
Good evening. More angry words about Harbourfront tonight, a development a lot of...
Tonight, storing PCBs here.
Tonight, CBS under attack.
Tonight, the cost of money tumbles.
Now, the latest from the CityPulse News team with Gord Martineau and Muskowski, David Onley, Jim McKinney, and John Burgess. This is CityPulse Tonight.
Good evening. Our top story tonight, concern focuses on PCBs.
Tonight, chewing on free trade. Tonight, market down, book sales up.
Tonight, award-winning style.
Here's the latest from the CityPulse News team. CityPulse Tonight with J.D. Roberts.
Good evening. Our top story tonight, pitching free trade to Ontario's agriculture industry.
February 3rd, 1989. This is Toronto. Shooting spree. Battling the blaze. And Toronto NFL bid. CityPulse with Gord Martineau and Muskowski. And the CityPulse News team brings you Toronto's News.
Good evening. A province-wide alert tonight for two men wanted in connection with last night's random sniper attacks in North York.
Tonight, Pierre Trudeau bookmaker.
Tonight, another separate school closing.
Tonight, the Rupert Hotel fire remembered.
Here's the latest from the CityPulse News team. CityPulse Tonight. Good evening. Our top story tonight, Prime Minister Mulroney sells the Meech Lake Accord.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Happy New Year, Toronto. All the best to you in 1991.
Tuesday, January 1st, the day after a safe New Year's Eve, and more Canadian troops on their way to the Gulf. Good evening. It was one of the quietest, safest, and crime-free New Year's Eve on record.
Saturday, June 29th, reservoir relief, crackdown warning, and a chin picnic. Good evening. The temperatures are finally dropping.
Good evening. Fire alarms sent screaming today at another downtown high-rise.
Tonight, jury's still out.
Tonight, George packs his suitcase. Tonight, beautiful South, beautiful music.
Here's the latest from the CityPulse News team. CityPulse Tonight. Good evening. Quiet in your neighborhood tonight? Should have been in Eglinton and Kingston. Tonight, Mystery Woman.
Tonight, what did you think?
Tonight, Seventh Heaven.
Here's the latest from the CityPulse News team. CityPulse Tonight. Good evening. Police have a new video clue tonight they hope will lead to new charges in the Just Desserts murder.
Good morning from the assignment desk in the City Pulse newsroom. I'm Kevin Frankish. Here's what's happening on the streets this hour. Provincial police have just reopened the 410 northbound in the area of Derry Road in Mississauga.
Tonight, clean sweep.
Tonight, Sonic Conic. Tonight, Ring War.
News 6 run the scene here, Dennis.
A massive police raid and a grateful community tonight.
It is 7:57 on breakfast television, a high of 9 degrees today. Sunny skies, maybe some cloudy periods, just turned 7:58. Let's hit the eyes of Toronto. We do have one accident on the go out in the West End. As we look at ISPIA, it's off in the distance, but you can still see some flashing lights. That's the intersection of Eglinton and Martin Grove, westbound. We have an accident there, and I can see a solid line of cars heading westbound. Eastbound's not too bad. Let's take a look right now at Eyes Dome and the Gardner Expressway, right in front of Sky Dome, building normally this morning. Out at the east end, take a look at Eyes Metro Transportation up by the Parkway. The Gardner is moving fine as well. Transit Control, here's an update from Diane.
Thanks, Kevin. We do have one more accident on the go I've just been told about at the intersection of Nielsen and Ellesmere. It is slowing us down a bit, though everything is getting by. No problems on the subways at this time. That's it, live from Transit Control, Kevin.
Thanks, Di. 7:58. Let's go to the diner. Here's Jennifer with Celebrations.
Thank you very much, Kevin. This is Celebrations. Now, over to you, Ann.
8 o'clock, this is CityTV. You're watching Breakfast Television. This is the fabulous Fawcett family from Flesher Ontario. Hi, everybody. Right now, we're going to go into the CityPulse News to take a look at today's top news stories with Kevin Frankish.
Thank you, and good morning, everyone. Trouble in Moss Park. An arrest, though, we're told, is imminent in an early morning stabbing that ended up looking much worse than it was. A woman.
Welcome to Lunch Television. My name's Jose, and I love to do impersonations.
Hey, this is Wolfman Jackson. We're live in stereo at Citytv. Now here's your host, John Major.
Deal that everybody thinks it is. Oh, sorry, thank you very much. Hey, and welcome to the program. Come on in and say hi to Jennifer Peck in the LT Diner. Hi, Jen.
Hi, John.
Holly Glanders is away all week this week. Yeah, she's not there. But Oliver's here. Holly! I'm doing fine. Welcome to the program. Good stuff lined up for you today. First of all, the band appearing here in the lunchroom with us. Welcome, Tabarok. Where's our audience cam operator?
Follow me to this.
Oh, way over
right
here. Way over here.
Good afternoon. A key day for Ontario Premier hopefuls as all three party chiefs hone their debating skills.
But first, it's time for a day in the life of Toronto. City Pulse at 6 is next.
Good evening. Our top stories tonight. Police Constable Rick Shank will go on trial again. The Bouchard-Chadet debate.
Tonight, shopping frenzy.
Tonight, a rolling moss gathers no stone.
Tonight, a Christmas for all. Good evening. The Christmas rush is on tonight. Live now to Larissa Harrapin on Queen Street, where things have finally thinned out.
Good morning, everybody. Just about 8:30, isn't it? Yep, just about 8:30. Going up to a high of 25 degrees. Let the fantastic weather continue. Sunshine through the day today. Looking at some Asian furniture in just a little while. But first, here's Kevin.
Thank you very much, Liza. Good morning, everyone. The investigations have begun into a so-called friendly fire accident that killed 4 Canadian soldiers and wounded 8 others in Afghanistan. The casualties taking part in a nighttime training exercise in a designated area outside Kandahar. U.S. National Guard.
Good evening. We are mourning the sudden loss of a very memorable and much-loved member of our City Pulse family.
Tonight, long way down.
Tonight, may we? Tonight, mellow cello.
Good evening. Right out of a movie on the 401 at the Hogs Hollow Bridge in the evening rush. A loaded cube van goes out of control and...
It's gross. It's pretty disgusting in there. There are, down near the custodian's room, the air is so rank that your eyes tear up, and it's foul.
Good evening. Toronto schools are back in business.
But some of the classrooms aren't too classy. Here's our education specialist, Cynthia Mulligan, with the latest.
Well, and some parents refuse to leave their children at this school.
Good evening. Here's what Toronto's talking about today.
An arsenal of stolen handguns have hit our streets.
my brother, my best friend, and the most important person in my life.
Tears for the Fallen. A strong Toronto contingent joins a huge turnout of mourners at a national memorial for the 4 slain Mounties. I'm live tonight in Edmonton.
Heroes on duty.
If everything goes right, yes, we're saving lives, we're preventing people from being injured. That's what we do.
The firefighters who put out the flames on a man who set himself ablaze.
The sandwich generation, smack dab in the middle.
Good evening. A nation united in grief pays its final respects to 4 fallen RCMP officers.
Emery, another red-hot story tonight, the red light cameras that will soon be snapping your picture.
Good evening. An orphan French teen who was called Toronto home for the past 8 years is being sent packing.
Tonight.
I'm out of a job. I'm out of a job.
General Motors bombshell.
This is not the end. There will be more to come.
Oshawa devastated by job cuts. Why GM's most productive plant was made a scapegoat.
This is very much a bone being thrown to the UAW.
Toxic school buses.
The emissions from their tailpipes and from their engine compartment seems to be seeping into the school bus.
The design flaw that's pumping dangerous fumes into the school bus and your children's lungs.
And now we're complaining that their grades are all lower. Well, it's because they're half stunned by the time they get there.
It's definitely taking years off my life.
Stuck in traffic? Not if you've got a cell phone.
Now you got some control over that. You know exactly what you're going to face.
How your mobile phone is going to make your drive to work stress-free.
Good evening. They were tops in their field, and they still lost their jobs.
Toronto's #1 morning show is now Canada's first in HD.
Hey, good morning. Yeah, I bet you're expecting to see an infomercial on this morning. Ha! Well, you got us. We're on just a little bit early this morning simply because we were concerned about what was going to happen with the weather. It looks like we dodged that weather bullet because the temperature did stay nice and warm for us overnight, or relatively warm. Hey, good morning. It's coming to 7 o'clock. Let's look at our top stories.
Right now on CityNews at 5, your top stories.
Canada Day holiday weekend's traditionally been a deadly one, and that's a tradition that sadly has continued.
A devastating weekend on the roads.
The family, such a loving family.
And the water.
Two people at the same time.
Why this summer's turning out to be one of the deadliest on record.
Hi, measure your speed at 131 kilometers an hour.
Breathing new life into the abortion debate.
It shows a lot of courage in the face of tremendous opposition.
Why one of Canada's most controversial doctors may be about to receive this country's highest honor.
There's no flow. You can't have as much fun as you would like.
A great holiday or a great debate.
The 1st of July is the 1st of July.
I'd rather it be today, but what are you going to do?
Should be tomorrow, absolutely. Why the calendar could be wrecking your Canada Day for the next 3 years. Taking a swing at Canada's top title.
When I get here, I'll be ready to go.
How some of the best golfers in the world are hoping to close out this year's Open.
I got a lot of good memories right now.
Good evening. Whatever you're planning on Canada Day, you should have great weather tomorrow.
I'm Roger Peterson, and we are looking at the face of Toronto, but it may be changing. Coming up, we'll tell you about the island that's proposed for the Portlands.
City News, the 5, right now.
I just don't think that they should be able to get away with this.
They're there to protect us, so they should have nothing to hide.
A family pet dead after a takedown. I'm Tammy Sutherland in Brampton. Why Peel police are refusing to comment on whether officers opened fire.
A classic controversy.
I came down here, I drove 9 hours just to come get this book.
How the sequel of To Kill a Mockingbird is rewriting history in a way not everyone likes.
These guys just have a lot of fumes coming off of them, and you know, this is going to be just preliminary to get them comfortable enough to manage.
Ducks in danger. I'm Audra Brown at the Toronto Wildlife Centre. The overwhelming battle for wildlife rescuers after an oil spill puts lives in danger.
Good evening, I'm Avery Haynes, and we begin tonight with a City News exclusive investigation that goes to the very heart of police transparency.
That's a wrap for this half hour. City News at 6 with Gordon Ann begins.
Out of the newsroom, on the street, City News everywhere. The following Citytv program is available in high definition.
Live from Young Dundas Square, this is City News at 6.
Tonight on City News at 6.
Answering the bell.
Okay, so no pressure here, but these girls all want to be together. You've got your fingers crossed, right?
It's going to be a lot different than grade 3.
How new faces met with a new year in schools across the GTA.
So you guys are all together in grade 4? Yeah! Is that going to make the year even better? Yeah!
It's just a lot to cope with. Just our whole world.
Putting a positive spin on a disaster.
We've used every inch of space we possibly can, and that means the libraries, some of the core resource rooms.
Welcome, and thank you so much. How victims of the Vaughan tornado strike are making headway on the slow road to recovery.
Joey, be good. You know the rules.
It's like Toronto has arrived, you know. We've got a great meeting place downtown here now. It's very nice.
A neighborhood with history.
This is Toronto's own Bright Lights Big City neighborhood.
How one idea over 200 years ago turned Ontario wilderness into the longest street in the world.
Glorious sunshine to start off the school year, but we do have rain in the forecast. I'll let you know when you're going to need to pack that umbrella coming up.
Back to work, back to school, and back to the future. This is a live look around our brand new home at Citytv. Good evening and welcome to Yonge and Dundas, an area that in this city.
Tonight on City News at 6.
It's going to live with me for the rest of my life.
Their family pet shot right before their eyes.
They're there to protect us, so they should have nothing to hide.
A City News exclusive reveals a series of shootings in Peel region and why police have said nothing about them.
What you're doing today, it's new. Frankly, it's brand new.
Could Toronto have a new island?
It's one of the biggest urban renewal projects we could possibly pursue.
How a plan to revamp the waterfront could put new real estate on the map. And an early warning for rape.
This is just one step in the right direction, and communities are doing it already. We're just supporting it.
How a remarkable idea is offering a new level of protection for women. Good evening, and we continue now with our City News exclusive, which we first brought you on the 5. Avery Haynes is looking for answers to the question.
Tonight on City News, a healthcare in crisis.
The hallway was just lined up with gurneys. Nobody was helping them with their bathroom needs, with their hygiene. They were just sort of left there just to rot.
How patients who shouldn't be in hospital are taking up bed space for those who desperately need it.
We have a province that hasn't got a strategy to deal with the ALC crisis other than try to kick people out of hospital.
And the dangerous side of our national pastime.
You've got a lot of guys. It's very competitive. People push themselves beyond their limit. And you're not really aware that you're having a heart attack until it's happening to you.
We reveal the unique stress hockey puts on older players.
One of the things you should be doing when you're off on the bench, is to stand to keep the heart rate going. Of course, none of us do it because we're all too tired.
And good evening. We continue our City News investigation into just what's going on inside Trillium's Mississauga Hospital as complaints come pouring into our newsroom about patients being admitted into the ER.
We hope and we love Brandon, and we hope and we love for his family.
A search ends in tragedy.
My heart dropped when I heard the terrible news today.
A grief-stricken community comes together to remember a missing teen.
It's believed at this time that it is Brandon Crisp.
After police confirm a family's worst fears.
You start realizing how cherished your kids are.
A plea to keep you safe.
I think it should be a law that before the car gets in motion, every passenger is properly belted in.
How a deadly crash in a Toronto cab has left one family demanding answers.
I think it's an important area that the Taxi Commission should be looking at.
Change has come to America.
A new leader and new hope.
Something really big and bold has happened here.
We matter, all of us. As Americans celebrate a defining moment in history.
Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah.
How Barack Obama could bring change to Toronto.
His ideas will inevitably be discussed in Canada.
No AI for the Pistons tonight, so could the Raptors pick up their 4th W of the season?
Another gem on the way for tomorrow, but how long is it going to last, and what does it look like into the weekend?
Good evening. Tears for a life cut far too short.
This is City News, your #1 local newscast at 11.
We've had one house that has been severely damaged due to an explosion. We have approximately 24 other homes in the area that have damage that range from very light damage to extreme damage.
That's a brand new house that's just going up.
6 of those are in the extreme damaged aspect.
There was one victim located at the scene. 9 other people were assisted, and none of them were transported to the hospital.
Welcome to City News. I'm Shauna Hunt in Mississauga with continuing coverage of a deadly house explosion.
This is City News International. Here are your world news headlines for Monday, April 28th. House of Horror. An Austrian man confesses to keeping his daughter locked away for more than 2 decades and fathering her 7 children. Attack in Afghanistan. President Hamid Karzai escapes a Taliban assassination attempt. Raging wildfires.
This is an early fire season. The fuel load is heavy.
California's fire season gets off to a blazing start. Good evening. I'm Gord Martineau. The lead tonight. Austria is in shock over the unbelievable case of a man who imprisoned and sexually abused his daughter.
Yeah. 6 o'clock. Yeah, you're watching breakfast television. Several arrests have been made in Iran over the shooting down of a Ukrainian plane that killed all 176 people aboard, including 57 Canadians. Peel police are investigating a suspicious death after a body was found in a green space near Queen and Highway 50 in Brampton early yesterday evening. The gender and identity of the person have not been released.
This came out yesterday afternoon. Leafs losing defenseman Morgan Riley for up to 8 weeks with a fractured foot he suffered in Sunday's loss to Florida. He logged the most ice time of any Leaf so far this season, so it's a major loss.
Good morning. There's a look at Young Dundas Square this morning as you step your way out the door. Just be careful. We have a little risk of some freezing drizzle. Details coming up.
And, of course, we were just talking about this. Harry and Meghan, all the controversy that is going on. We speak to Robert Baines from the St. George's Society about the future of the Royals here in Canada and in England. Coming up, we're filling you in on the Jays Winterfest, and there might be a giveaway. Stay tuned. Might be.
By the way, when we say might be, pretty safe to say yeah.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. There's
B.
no
Promise
B.
things. B.
Love those lights.
B.
Maybe.
Just watch.
We're getting close.
Maybe.
Spring training is what? 2 weeks? They have pitchers reported in 2 weeks, I want to say.
A fitting end to a magical season. In the hands of the fun guy, the MVP, going northward to let a city know it's time to party. As the saying goes, if you build it, they will come. And the people came, and they kept coming. Tens of thousands. The east, the west, the north and south. And from the aptly named park, snaking their way up the streets to the city's heart, with hands united across the GTA for the sweetest celebration the Six has ever seen.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us as the city continues to enjoy the Raptors' NBA championship win.
Tonight on City News.
The mourning for the victims of the plane crash that went down in Iran continues.
They're never going to come back to me. I'm never going to be able to hold my niece again. I'm never going to be able to hold my sister again.
Tonight, another family member shares his grief and anger along with the plans to help remember his sister, brother-in-law, and one-year-old niece.
More job action in the classroom.
Ontario's Catholic teachers will be implementing a province-wide, one-day full withdrawal of services on Tuesday, January 21st.
For the first time in more than 20 years, Catholic school teachers are engaging in a one-day province-wide strike, while more than 500,000 students will be out of the class.
I'm Mark McAllister at a community center here in Ajax, where a vigil is set to start in a little over an hour from now.
What began as a robbery at a high-end handbag store in Yorkville ended up in carnage just a few kilometers away. Coming up on City News, the heart-stopping witness account and why the police are on the hunt for suspects that fled this scene.
A beautiful ceremony filled with British tradition with a modern twist. I'm Melanie Ng in Windsor, where Prince Harry and Meghan Markle said, I do.
Doug Ford wants to talk about beer on the long weekend, but his Liberal opponents aren't swallowing it. Coming up, are voters more interested in suds or scandals? It's a scene that could very well be from an action movie. The carnage at the corner of Jarvis and Wellesley caused
City Pulse is everywhere, getting the story, a day in the life of Toronto. You'll be there, because when the action happens, City Pulse is on the scene. Be there when Toronto's best reporters cover the latest breaking news, the entertainment scene, and the world of sports. Be there with accurate weather, informed commentary, and a look at what's happening on the streets. City Pulse, a day in the life of Toronto. Weeknights at 6 with Gord Martineau, Dini Petty, and Peter Gross. City Pulse, everywhere.